Hi there, I'm Ondeane and I'm going to show you how to do a deco glass plate. I'm not affiliated to any of the product brands that I'm going to be using. These are just brands that were available at the time of me buying them. The only one is the Mod Podge, which you can use any one. This one that I'm using is just the one that I sold in my shop that I had in the Cape, so which is closed now. And then you'll see that with the other product you also just need to keep like a cloth on hand just to wipe off after you've washed off your sponge. Okay, so the products that I'll be using, first of all, a rubber roller, which you'll see now what you're going to use it for, a rubber paint sponge paintbrush, and little sponges that you're going to be sponging the paint on with, a scissors to cut out the picture, whichever picture you're going to want to put on the decoupage on the deco plate, which you're going to decoupage onto the plate. Also, just before I move this over, I have a towel plate which I sponge excess paint off of the sponges onto here, just in case I want to do something light on here. I don't want to put too much paint on it, then I first put it off onto the tile. Okay. Then I have the Mod Podge. I have glitter, which you can use any color that you want to, but I'm just using the clear one just because it gives it a different look. Okay, then I've got turquoise and silver, blue, and cherry, which is like a pinky color. The colors that I'm using, I'm just using these colors because of my picture, but you can use any color that you want to use that matches the picture that you're doing. And then also obviously my glass plate, which can also be a square if you're going to be doing something, depends on what you're making. And then I have a black bag which I put underneath it just to protect my table from paint and decoupage. Okay, so what we do first is we're going to cut out the picture. When you've cut the picture out, then you can throw away the excess paper. If you want to, you can always cut with the edges off, or you can use those fancy scissors to make patterns on the side, but I'm just doing it plain. And also you just need to make sure that there's no dirt or dust or anything on your plate and on your picture. Right, so now I need to take my Mod Podge and I put it on the front side of the picture because I'm going to be turning it around. So do this. Then you take your sponge paintbrush and you wipe it in. Don't be scared to go over the edges because you're going to be putting the Mod Podge there anyway. You need to try and do this as quickly as possible because before it dries you need to turn it over. Maybe just put a little bit more. Sorry, bumping my camera. Okay. Turn it over and place it. So I first just wipe it in a little bit, maybe put a little bit more over there and over there on the edges, which is usually where the biggest problem comes in. I take my roller and I roll it out so that I can roll any bubbles out that may be forming. Oops. One thing you need to know about creativity projects is that unfortunately they don't always come out perfect because you're dealing with different things that might give you uphill. So that's something I had to learn to deal with because I was quite a perfectionist, and crafting helped me realize you're not always going to get it perfect. Just one of those things in life. Just put some more there. Okay, That is about as down as what we're going to get it. And what I do is now I need to put over the top. Okay, rub it in. I know that if you're using serviettes, they say it's actually better to work from the middle and outwards, and do it very lightly if you're working with serviettes, because they tend to tear very easily. I have had that unfortunate thing happen many times to me, and then I have to start all over again, which is quite difficult actually, because you have to clean it off. Okay, so what you do usually is you use about 3 layers of Mod Podge on something, just to make sure that you are setting it properly. So we have to now first wait for the first layer to dry, and then we can carry on. So I will be back now when it's dry again. Okay, so I've already put the second and the third layer on it in order to save time, and now all 3 layers are dry. So the first thing that we do after that is that we put the glitter on, and we don't put it like, I don't put a lot, you don't put like a lot on, you just put in certain areas just so that it gives it a bit of a glow. And do that. And just put it here and there. Just give it that twinkling effect. Okay. Now we'll have to wait for that to dry, otherwise it will just keep moving around on the plate, and that will be a problem. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so the glitter is now dry, and now we're going to do the silver. With the silver, we're only going to put it on lightly, because it just needs to be like a thin sheen that we want. So I'm just basically going to put it in like that. And then this is also where I would use my tile to make sure that I get most of the paint off it. And then I just basically put it around the edge here like that. So the silver is now finished. All I have to do now is wait for it to dry, and then we will carry on with the other colors. So I will be back now again. Okay, so the silver is now dry, and you can now start sponging your other colors that you want onto your plate in all the different ways that you want to put it there. So I'm going to start with the turquoise. And just put it on. because this is now the solid color, you would fill this up more so that you can't really see through it too much, because we don't want to see the black, which I will still tell you about. Take the other sponge. You might want to leave like spaces open here and there and just put another color in between it, which I'll show you now. Sorry, something just fell. As you see, you're going to get a little bit messy. So we go like that, and then I can put pink in between. Can see that you're gonna look like you have painted your nails very badly. There's no really wrong or right way about doing this. Excess off here, because you don't really want like blotches of paint anywhere. Okay, now I'm going to lift it up just to see if there are any gaps. You can see what it looks like now. So I don't see any gaps there, so that all looks good. Okay, so something that I forgot to mention when I mentioned the products is that you're going to need black as well, just plain black, for the last color. And then you'll also need like a silver Koki, something like this, or a Tipex pen, or like they say in America, correction pen. And you won't really need anything to put on the back to seal it, because it's not an outside item, so that should be fine. So we're just going to wait for this to dry now, and then I'll be back again. Okay, so the paint is now dry that we sponged on. We can just once again check on the front to make sure that we're happy. Okay, we'll just clean that down now, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to cover the whole back of the glass with black paint. This basically just gives it like a backing color so that you can't see straight through the glass basically. So let me get that open. Okay, now you can either use a brush or you can use a sponge. I'm going to use a brush. I was going to use a sponge, but I think I'm just to try and get it in there. Okay, and then you just basically paint. As you can see, we'll probably have to do another layer after it's dried. And it's also just neater if you go in one direction. Okay, then I'm just going to wait for it to dry and then put another layer over it, just so that it's completely covered. So I'm just going to wait for it to dry and then we will be back soon. Okay, so I've already put the second layer of black paint on, so you can see it's quite covered now. There is a few spots that are still wet, so I just need to be careful. What I'm going to do now is I just want to clean it up a bit so that the paint is off the sides, and also if I got any on the front. So what I do is I take like a non-acetone nail remover, just because I've got it in the house and I don't really use it because I use acetone. So I can use that. You can use thinners as well if you want to. And then I've also got cotton wool. And I just lift it up and I'm going to go on the sides, along the sides, so that we can take the excess paint off here on the sides. Just be careful not to take off the paint on the actual back of the picture. I need to wipe off the front, excess paint. So now we've cleaned off the sides and we've finished off everything, and now all you need to do is you need to sign your name. So you can do that whichever way you want. Obviously there's no right or wrong way. Okay, so you'll see that there's a lot of waiting, like waiting for things to dry with this product, because of the fact that you need so many different layers to dry. And one thing I can say about doing things like these, and also like any decoupage products or decoupage projects, should I say, is that I've learned a lot of patience, because I've had to sit and wait for it to dry. And you know, like in the beginning I used to actually just try and get it done quickly, and I used to put stuff on top of wet product, which just did not work out. The same went for the mosaicing, where you have to wait for the grout to dry before you can wipe it off, and eventually I was wiping the grout back out of the thing because it was still wet when I was trying to clean it. So one thing I can say is that when I do projects like this, they actually keep teaching me patience and teaching me how to be patient for things. So that's at least one good thing that comes from waiting the whole time for everything to dry. So now what we can do is we can turn it around and show you what the finished product looks like. As you'll see, like, because of the fact that some of the picture lifted up, some of the black paint went underneath it, which is not a problem. It just adds to the picture at the back. But that is the Glass Deco Plate. I hope you enjoyed doing it, and if you could please, if you want to share your pictures with me, I will greatly appreciate it. I really enjoy it. You can actually go and share it on my Facebook page and show me what you did, and I will enjoy it. The Facebook page I will link below, as well as all my other pages. I'll link below as well, and then you can just show me what you did, and if you had any tips or tricks that you would like to share with all of us, I would appreciate it. I hope that wherever you are in the world, that you are enjoying your day. Goodbye.